Actually, next we're going to talk about charging. Just kidding about the technology part. I have to move the car to another location to do the technology because I want to. I want to drive it. So first things first, you want to make sure when you are plugging in, especially to your house, that you set the amperage on your car. So if I go in here to car and I go to charge, it'll show me that it's at the max amperage setting right now, 48 amps. Well, that's because I'm plugged into my charging station. Now, if I was plugging into a wall outlet, I would set that to like 11 amps. Even though I think, I'm not an electrician, but I think wall outlets can do like 12 amps if you're charging 110. But I set mine to 11 amps just by pushing the minus button down to 11 amps. It would be nice if you could actually like touch that and type it in there because sometimes when you're hitting this button, if you hit it too fast, it'll go back to the beginning and you're kind of like, what the hell, I'm trying to get down to 11. You got to press this button freaking 37 times to get down to 11, and you're like, Jesus. So anyways, my one gripe about this is that it doesn't reset after you turn the amperage down or up. So if you have so when I was plugging into my 110 before I got my charging station, I would set the amperage down to 11 amps because one time I forgot to do that and it stayed at 48 amps and it kicked my breaker in my box. So, if you're going to plug 110, make sure to adjust that. Pro tip, okay? But I forgot to kick it back up and I was out and about and I plugged it into a level 3 charger and the car was only charging at 11 amps, even in the level 3 charger. So I was like, oh crap. And it's a good thing I caught it because I would have came back an hour later and noticed that I barely got any juice into my car. So, types of chargers. Oh, wait, one more thing. There's a schedule assist in here. In the Polestar, you can hit this. Bloop. Now, the only bad thing about this is that you can't set a schedule like for the week and a different schedule for the weekend or different schedules for the day. You could only set it for every day, and you can see here I have 9 to 5. I don't have it on because I just plug it in at 9 myself. I get a reminder from the ChargePoint home flex station that I have to plug my car in at night, and I go out and I plug my car in after 9 to get that off-peak juice savings. So it is one cool thing that you can schedule it though in the car. All right, let's go into types of chargers. So you do obviously have your 110 plug that you can plug it into. That is the slowest. That gave me about 2 to 3 miles per hour when I had my car plugged in, when I had the Polestar plugged in. Level 2 charging, which is what this ChargePoint right here is doing. This is a ChargePoint Home Flex. It's the best seller on Amazon. I 100% recommend it. It's if you already have a 240 volt outlet in your garage, it's as simple as hanging this thing up, plugging it in, and then there's a few apps things that you have to do, and it's really easy to get started with. You got my little sticker there. It's really easy to get started. It connects to your Wi-Fi. You can control it with your phone. You can stop charging. You can start charging. It'll tell you, this one even tells me it's connected to my energy company, which is Duke, and it'll even tell me how much it costs to charge. So like when I'm at the end of my charge, or even during charging, it'll tell me like, hey, and you can see it's connected to the Wi-Fi right there. I had to buy a range extender because my garage is detached. But anyways, it'll tell you exactly how much it costs to charge. I think last night I put it on the charger, and from 20% to 90%, I think I paid maybe $6 or something like that. It comes out to about 17 cents per kilowatt hour, and running the car comes out to about 5 cents a mile. So, which is a lot cheaper than my old Volvo, which was running me about 19-20 cents a mile. So this is a home charging station, which I definitely recommend if you have the availability to do. This charger can also be installed in a pole outside, so it is weatherproof. And this cable, I watched another guy on YouTube. This cable, even if it's freezing outside, is still mendable. You can, or still pliable. You can bend it just fine. Everything works great. So outside, inside, it's a great charger. The charging curve, the time to charge on this car is a little different. It can only get a peak charge of 150 amps. And so from like 0 to 60, 0 to 50, it'll charge at 150 amps. From, excuse the dog, 0 to 50, 50 to 60%, it'll charge at 100 amps. And once it hits that 50, 60%, it'll drop down to like 70, 80 amps. So it's definitely got a charging curve. I think Tesla's the same way, except for Teslas can charge, I think the newer Model 3s can charge at 300 amps. So but there's not many Tesla chargers that are capable of pushing that power. I think they're in California mainly. But anyways, let's look at this range estimator thing in here. Okay, hopefully everything comes back on when I sit down, because your butt is the power button in this car. So this screen should pop back up. So there's an app in here called Range Estimator, and I want to show you something kind of curious. So the car is saying, well, actually it was saying earlier that the range was 230, and this was saying 220. So if I'm on the highway and I'm going like a long distance, I will launch this Range Assistant app, because it's more accurate than what the car is actually telling you here. You would think that they would be the same, but they are not. Like, I don't know why Polestar did it that way, but like this might say your projected range is 100, and they might tell you that the range here is 140 or something like that. So I trust the Range Assistant a lot more, and it'll tell you here, you know, how you're driving, your driving style, if you're doing, and it's instant. So it'll tell you your instant consumption. And I'm averaging about 32 kilowatts per 100 miles right now. So that's pretty standard. I think Tesla's actually less efficient than that. I think Tesla's like 34 or something like that kilowatts per hour, 100 miles. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, so the range estimator is nice. One thing you have to look for is the range is, when you're talking about electric vehicles, you have to look at the availability of chargers in your area. So like Tesla, for example, if you're going to be doing a lot of driving or long road trips, Tesla is really the best way to go. You may not like it, or you may like it. I don't know. Maybe you really like Teslas. I'm just a fan of things that are built very high quality and built to last. I plan to keep this car, even though every year that electric vehicle comes out, I think like the new Polestar 2024 has like, I don't know, 50 or 60 miles more range than my 21 Polestar. So, you know, with electric vehicles, as they come out, the technology just keeps getting better and better and better. New batteries, new this, new that. One thing that is nice, this does get over-the-air updates. So they do improve upon, I have version 2.7 right now. I'm not sure what the older versions were like, but I read the notes on what was improved upon. And, you know, they're just small things, you know, little bug fixes, things like that. But I can get a performance upgrade, even though this is the performance edition, 300 kilowatts, 0 to 60 in 4.1 seconds. But I can get the performance upgrade. I think it's $1,000 or $1,100, something like that. And it will add an extra 70 horsepower or 50 kilowatts of power to the car. And somehow it's a hardware upgrade too. So it's like, it makes the hardware, your electric motors, faster. And you get a nice new sticker that says 350 kilowatts for the side of your car, if you're into that thing like me. And you get a nice little white Polestar badge that you can put on the front of your grill. So that's kind of cool. I'm going to save up for that one. You know, it's hard to convince the spouse that I need that, because the car's already fast enough as it is. especially after I scared her by throwing her into the seat at one time. But I need it. I definitely need it. Let's see what else is in here. Any issues that I've had with the car? One time I came in and the screen was black. When I sat down, the screen did not come on. So that was kind of sucky. So my solution to that was just to exit the vehicle, lock it, and then come back in, and it was fine. It has started doing this thing lately. I've had the car for about a week. I've put about 1,000 miles on it, and it has been saying this thing that when I get in the car, it says, I cannot connect right now, but you can still listen to music, navigate, blah, blah, blah. And what's weird is when I look up at the connection, it says LTE. There's a signal strength. It's getting GPS. So, and it'll also show my phone up there too. But I'm not experiencing any errors with the infotainment or with the car or anything like that. It's kind of annoying. Like every third time I get in the car, I can't connect right now, but you can blah, blah, blah. And so I called my dealer about it, and they're like, well, if it starts really annoying you, you can bring it in and I'll have the Polestar tech look at it. And it's a Volvo dealership. They just have Polestar techs there. But yeah, it's starting to annoy me a little bit, but not enough to take it to the dealership and spend a few hours there. So I talked to my service advisor at Volvo, and he hadn't heard of the issue yet. And the car's been out now for 3 years. I think they came out in 2020, but he hasn't heard of that issue yet, especially with the new 2.7 update, which is just starting to roll out over the air in Europe. I don't even think it's come to America yet. I got lucky because when I took my car in, they just updated it at the Volvo dealership to 2.7. Took them about an hour, but he said he hasn't heard of that error yet. So I'm hoping it just goes away. If it doesn't, then I'm definitely taking it in and having them look at it, because I hope it's not the communications module that's in the antenna in the roof. I hope that's not failing, because I have heard of some people, not a lot, there's some people that are having what's called the TCAM, which is a communication module in here. I've heard of that failing, and if that fails, basically you lose all functionality in the car. I mean, you can still drive it and stuff, but this car is built around being connected to the internet, just like the Tesla is. So if you lose that connectivity, it kind of sucks. So I think, yeah, other than that, and the trunk, you saw that earlier, the trunk not opening when I kicked it. Yeah, so those are, first world problems, right? This is a great car. I love it. It brings a smile to my face every time I drive it. It's great. Yeah, it's brand new, it's a week old, but my Volvo, even though I've, owned it for a little over a year, every time I, was walking towards it or walking away from it, I always did a double take. Whenever I got in it, it brought a smile to my face. It turned my jams up. And this car is going to be the same way. I plan on owning this car for several years. My friends will laugh at me because I've had about 25 cars in my lifetime. I'm not that old, even though I do have gray hair. But I've had about 25 cars, and it seems like I get a new car every year or two. But this car, I plan on keeping for a while because it was very expensive. And I know that eventually, even though I put down a down payment, there'll probably be a point where I'm at negative equity in the car unless I really, really pay it down really quick. So, yeah, I want to keep this car for several years. I want to put at least 100,000 miles on it and just reap the benefits of 5 cents a mile as opposed to 20 cents a mile. So next we're going to talk about technology, I promise. And let's go into that now.